It's June 13, 2016, and it's a little after 2. I'd like to ask the clerk to take roll and ascertain if we have a quorum.
Chairman Respicio,
Estiguidzo.
Senator Tom Adda, Speaker Wampat, Vice Speaker Cruz, Senator Munya Barnes, Senator Uggan, Senator Rodriguez, Senator San Nicolas, Senator Underwood, Senator Tony Adda, Senator Torres. Mr. Chair, there is a quorum.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion that we excuse Senator Barnes. She's at a family viewing at this time. It's been moved, and there's a second by the Vice Speaker. Hearing no objections, so ordered. We've also prepared for you the minutes from the April 20, 2016 meeting. I will entertain a motion that we approve this subject to corrections. It's been moved and seconded. They're hearing no objections. That motion also passes. Document tracking.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Speaker.
The Legislative Secretary has asked me to inform the members that you've all received now a copy of her tracking of all of the appointments. Actually, Mr. Chairman, if I might, before I go through this, can I just ask if we could just have a moment of silence for the victims of the massacre in Orlando?
Okay.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you very much. The Legislative Secretary has asked me to advise all of you that she's provided you with 3 reports. One of them has the list of appointments that her office has been tracking, the dates that the appointment was received by the Chief Executive, and the dates on which we are supposed to have acted on them. That's one report. She's also provided you with a second report on the rules and regulations that have been received by the Speaker and tracked by the Legislative Secretary, the dates that they were received, and the dates by which the legislature must take action. And it's just so that all of you are aware that if any of these are in your committees, to please determine what your course of action is going to be. And then also, the Legislative Secretary has a report of all of the zone changes that are received by the Speaker, and I believe the Chairman of Overlands has also referred it or at least forwarded to all of us for our action. So I just wanted to make sure that on behalf of the Legislative Secretary that you're aware that these 2 reports have been provided to you for your review and action if appropriate.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Speaker, and thank you also to our Legislative Secretary, Senator Barnes, for providing this information regularly at our Committee on Rules meetings. So on item 5, ratification of referrals, I will entertain a motion, if there is one, that we ratify the referrals I made for bill numbers 299-33 through 334-33, as well as all of the appointments and resolutions that have been attached. It's been moved, and I heard a second by Senator Uggan. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Item 6, I would go around the room and ask each member to make motions to place bills, resolutions, or appointments on the session agenda. And I'll begin with Speaker Wampat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Bill, I'd like to make a motion to place Bill number 293-33. That is relative to depositing escheated funds into the Housing Trust Funds for First-Time Homeowners Assistance Program.
Okay, on that motion to place Bill 293-33 and whatever version has been reported out of the Committee of Original Jurisdiction, hearing no objections, so ordered.
The second bill is Bill number 302, and that is the renaming of the Festival of the Pacific Arts Village houses, Lugat Iman Mananata, and that each house individually then be named after heroes and leaders of the Chamorro-Spanish War.
Okay, on that motion, again, whatever version's been reported out, there being no objections, so ordered.
And the third, and I put this in that order because then, of course, depending on where we're at and whether it be placed on the next session, and that's Bill number 311-33, and that's relative to unlawful distribution of images of persons depicted in a state of nudity or engaged in sexual activities, otherwise known as revenge pornography.
Okay, on that motion,
311.
hearing no objections, so ordered. And so that the clerk will note that when you place these things on the session agenda, it'll be first tier, second tier, third tier, and then you'll be numerical order on each tier. So, okay.
Thank you. I have 2 appointments also that I would like to place on the agenda, and that is Francisco B. Rabon, Folks Art Representative to Akaha, and the second is Francisco C. Lizama, also to Kaha.
Okay. On the motion to place those 2 individuals on the CAHA board, hearing no objections, so ordered. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Vice Speaker?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to advise the Committee on Rules that at some point during session, I will be making a motion to override the governor's veto on Bill number 2.
Okay, and then that would be done under motions.
Well, it'll be done under motions if everybody's there, because I'm not sure with the couple of funerals that are this week, which day all 15 of us are going to be in the hall. So if I might, I'm just going to ask your indulgence in allowing me to make that motion when all 15 of us are present, because I don't want anybody to be missing when I make that motion.
Okay, thank you for saying that. And so it's clear that if we go back to motions, it'll be just for that purpose and not anything else. So
If
thank
possible.
you, Mr. Vice Speaker.
Okay, thank you.
As long as we behave when we go back to motions. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to move in this order, because it is time sensitive, that we'll be doing the negotiations, or they have completed the negotiations for the health insurance. I'd like to ask that Bill 177-33 enact to appropriate $250,000 for the GovGuam Retirement Fund relative to providing incentive rewards for retirees to enroll in the Government of Guam Health Insurance Retiree Supplemental Plan for 2017.
Okay. On the Vice Speaker's motion to place Bill 177-33 and whatever version is reported out of his committee, hearing no objections, so ordered.
Also, Mr. Chairman, on the second tier, Bill number 30, I believe the time is appropriate for us to consider this, and it's an act to amend Section 3102 of Article 1 relative to requiring agencies permitted to retain counsel other than the Attorney General to hire classified in-house counsel and to strengthen the Attorney General's cognizance of legal matters over the Government of Guam.
On the motion to place that bill, Bill number 30-33, on the session agenda.
And it has been, both of my bills have been
Yeah,
substituted.
and whatever version's been reported out of that Committee of Jurisdiction, there being no objections, so ordered.
And if we have time, I would like to also, during the session, move Bill 141-33. That's the bill relative to raising the minimum age of legal access to tobacco products and electronic cigarettes to 21, and citing it as the Youth Protection Act of 2016. That'll have to be amended to 16.
Okay, on that motion to place that bill on the agenda, and whatever version's been reported out by Senator Nicholas's committee, hearing no objections, so ordered.
I have two resolutions that I've conducted hearings, and the committee reports should be in. One is something that I've introduced for the last three legislatures relative to expressing the Guam legislature's support of the passage of the Framework Convention for Tobacco Control.
Okay, do you have the numbers?
Yeah, it's 329-33.
Okay.
And
What's the
also
other one?
resolution number 391 relative to expressing our support of HR 4441, which is the Aviation Introduction Reform and Reauthorization Act of 2016, to make assaults against airline customer service agents a felony, and to further urging members of Congress to pass Bill HR 4441.
Okay. Okay, thank you. On the motion to place both resolutions 329-33 and 391-33, and if there's no objections, it'll be placed on the first tier in numerical order. Okay, hearing no objections, so ordered. Do you have any appointments?
None.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for Senator Barnes?
For Senator Barnes, her B&B bills, Bill 323-33 has substituted Bill 334-33 and 325-33.
Okay. If there's, given that Senator Barnes has expressed that all three bills kind of have to go through the process at the same time, and there's some discussion about combining them all in one bill, if there's no objections, then all three bills be placed in the first tier.
Right.
Hearing no objections, so ordered.
And she has one appointment, and that's George Santos to the GORA board.
Okay. And on that motion, hearing no objections, so ordered. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mayor.
Vice Speaker. Senator Ada?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move to place Bill 320-33 on the agenda, and that's an act to authorize the expenditure of up to $30,000 from the Chamorro Land Trust Survey and Infrastructure Fund for the design and installation of power infrastructure in Basic Lot 480 in Santa Ana, Municipality of Agate.
Okay, on that motion to place that bill, number 323-33, on the agenda, and whatever version has been reported out by that committee, hearing no objections, so ordered.
I would also like to place bills 313, 314, and 315 are all basically the same bills. And what these bills do is they authorize the Chamorro Land Trust to sell property to the Guam Waterworks Authority, wherein Guam Waterworks will then construct water reservoirs. Now, all three bills have the same language. The only difference is the location of these portions of properties. And so in the bill, it gives options of how possibly the payment can be compensated. It could be an outright fee simple or a lease. That's where the two agencies will get together to finalize that.
Okay, so based on Senator Tom Ada's motion, he's also asking for consideration that these three bills be all on the second tier. Okay, hearing that and hearing no objections, so ordered.
And if I may, on the third tier, Bill 321-33, which is really a follow-on bill regarding the land for the landless bill contracts, which for one reason or another people did not complete the contractual requirements, And so what the bill does basically is it gives these applicants another opportunity to be able to make good on the contract requirements, which they may not have been able to do so the first time around for whatever reason, a number of reasons. And otherwise, if that is not taken care of, then the land will then be transferred to the Chamorro Land Trust properties. And these are properties that have already been surveyed, has infrastructure, and really can be leased out to eligible applicants. So that's Bill 321-33.
Okay, on that motion, hearing no objections, so ordered.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, I would like to place the three nominations on. It's Mr. Pascual Sablan, member of the member of the Chamorro Land Trust Commission.
Okay.
Ms. Melanie Mendiola, a member of the Port Authority Board, and Mr. Oscar Calvo, Port Authority Board.
Okay, on that motion to place those individuals on those boards. Okay, hearing no objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
thank you so much. Senator Dennis, Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move to place Bill 249-33, which is an act to mandate the payment of compensation benefits of animal control officers of the Department of Agriculture.
Okay, on that motion to place Bill 249-33 on the agenda, hearing no objections, so ordered.
On the second tier, Mr. Chairman, Bill 282. This is relative to establish a withholding assessment fee for non-resident persons to capture the 4% equivalent of the business privilege tax on contracts awarded by the government of Guam for professional services.
Okay, on that motion, hearing no objections, so ordered.
And the third tier is Bill 224, relative to extending the business privilege tax exemptions for child care centers and group child care homes.
Okay, on that motion, again, hearing no objections, so ordered.
I have one resolution too,
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Okay,
if I may. That's Resolution 308. This is relative to encouraging Imagalahin Guahan to pursue the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's inclusion of Vietnam and the Philippines to the Consolidated Natural Resources Act of 2008, the Guam CNMI Visa Waiver Program.
okay, and so that will also be on the first tier, so the clerk will notate that. Hearing no objections on that motion, so ordered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. No appointments this time? Okay. Okay, going down the list, Senator Frank Blas Agan Jr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Senators. Mr. Chairman, these are all somewhat related pieces of legislation, so I'd like to request the consideration of the body to possibly place it in the first tier. And you understand, based on the request, this addresses specifically the Guam Police Department prior year obligations. And Bill number 304-33 is relative to providing authorization to the Guam Police Department for overtime payment obligations incurred in prior fiscal years. Did you want me to go bill by bill, Mr. Chair?
Let's do the first group
Okay.
that you think are companion.
Bill number 305 is relative to providing authorization to the Guam Police Department for vendor payment obligations incurred in prior fiscal years.
Okay.
And then I'll just highlight the aspect of the legislation that it would address. Bill number 306-33, which is relative to the third cadet cycle payment of obligations incurred in prior fiscal years. Bill number 307-33, relative to court-ordered obligations incurred in prior fiscal years. And then finally, 308-33 for promised compensation obligations incurred in prior fiscal years. And Mr. Chairman, the
Well,
respective...
first, let me congratulate you for putting 5 bills in one group. But
Well,
I'm hearing no objections.
No, but in this case,
Yeah, it's only the first tier.
and only because they all address prior year.
You
And
made
I
that
want to thank
argument very
Mr. Chairman,
eloquently.
I really want to thank the Chair of Appropriations for recognizing this and allowing for it to be reported out of his particular committee. And I think that I'll leave it at that. Please, Mr. Chairman and Senators.
So on
Thank
that
you.
motion and Senator Uggan's request for consideration that 304, 305, 306, 307, and 308 all be lumped into the first tier. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Okay, what is your second tier? Oh, just kidding. Speaker, just kidding. Let me go down the list. Senator Nicholas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just Bill 172-33 on the first tier of the agenda. This is relative to, this is an act to amend subsection 65102 and add a new subsection 65103 to Chapter 65, Title 10, GCA, relative to the establishment of operational continuity plans for each agency of the government of Guam.
On Senator Nicholas's motion to place Bill 172-33 on the agenda. First tier, of course, is his first request. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Is it? Okay. No appointments this time? Okay. Senator Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, the bill that I have is a bill that I had sponsored, but it's under your committee
You're welcome to make the motion.
to make the motion. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make the motion to include Bill 300-33, an act to authorize individual centers to voluntarily reduce their salaries by statute on the legislative agenda.
Okay. On Senator Underwood's motion to place that bill on the agenda, 300-33. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Okay. Anything else?
No, I don't
Okay.
have anything else. Thank you very much.
Okay. Senator Tonieta. No, I don't have anything. Yeah. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to place Bill 309-33 as substituted by the committee, and this is an add to add a new section 3A to Chapter 14 of Public Law 3366. And this is the authorization, and this is to authorize the promotions in GPD. And this is sponsored by Senator McCready.
Okay. On the motion to place Bill 309-33. Hearing no objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd also like to move to place Bill 296S33 COR, and this is substituted by the committee, introduced by myself, and this is an act to amend Section 60109.1 BA8 of Chapter 60 of Title 10 and GCA, and this is relative to training requirements for concealed firearm licenses.
Okay. On Senator Tonieta's motion to place Bill 296-33 on the agenda. Hearing no objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's it for
We
myself.
have another one from
yeah.
Senator McCready.
Senator Torres will be placing that along with hers.
Okay. Senator Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move to place Bill number 298-33, sponsored by Senator McCready, which is an act to add a new Article 6 to Chapter 3, Title 22. This is relative to the Guam Family and Medical Leave Act, and also to add a new Article 7 to Chapter 3, Title 22, which is relative to child school-related leave.
Okay. On the motion to place Bill 298-33 on the agenda. You're right. Speaker, you're right. So for the second tier, hearing no objections, ordered.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to place Bill number 291-33, which was authored by myself, an act to add a new Chapter 39A to Division 3 of Title 7, which is relative to custody and visitation of deployed military parents. Essentially, this is the adoption of a uniform code relative to temporary custody of deployed parents.
Okay. On the motion to place Bill 291-33 on the agenda, first tier, hearing no objections, so ordered.
Thank you.
Nothing further, right?
I think
Okay. On item 7, we have open discussion. The chair will entertain any open discussion. There's no... Speaker Wampat, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just wanted to I mean, I didn't count the total number of bills, but because we didn't go into session this week, there is the possibility then, it was requested by some from members, whether we should actually maybe even vote on Saturday. You know, if we are to go through tiers 1, 2, and 3. So I just want everybody to, you know, be aware of that. The other is that if we're unable to get through, then let's say the third tier, then I'm actually looking in July to probably have a 9-day session, which would be after July 4th. So it'll be like from the 5th, 4 days, and then the following week. And for August, we'll await for a decision made by the Vice Speaker for the budget. Then I'll be able to let you know what that session dates will be. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
That always is going to, yeah, I'm always working with the chair.
Okay, if there's no other, thank you, Madam Speaker, for that. Okay, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn subject to the call of the chair. Okay, it's moved and second by Senator Dennis and Senator Tony. They're hearing objections to order.